Ouch. Good morning. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning, Miss.
Was it difficult to get up this morning?
Yes, it's so cold.
It's very cold, yeah. It's freezing, actually.
Yes, before a rainy day, it's so cold.
It's very cold here in Santiago, at least. Okay, guys, so okay, so this is, the course plan, and today we have our last formal class, because next class you're going to have your oral presentation on unit number 6, right? So today we're going to check homework first, pages 32 and 33, please, from the Essential Business Grammar and Practice. Pages 32 and 33. Hello, Mati. Hello, Catalina. Hello, Enrique, Claudio,
Hello,
Catalina, Carrasana, Felipe. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so are you ready with your homework? Yes, pages 32 and 33. We have past continuous, right? And the homework is on page 33. Complete the sentences with the past continuous form of the verbs in brackets. Malcolm, please give me number 1.
Number 1, what were you doing on September 11? The second one,
Yes, please.
my wife and I first met my wife and I first met when we were working for the BBC.
Yes, that's right.
And they were surprised to see you because they weren't expecting you. When I looked out of the window, I saw that it was raining. It was raining.
It was raining.
Yes. Was the train waiting when you got to the station?
Yes.
While he was traveling around Asia, Mr. Lee made some important contacts.
Around Asia.
Asia. Okay.
Yes, that's right. When it says here, when I looked out of the window, I saw that it was raining. Number 5, we have the train was okay. The question is, was the train waiting when you got to the station? Number 6, while
he was traveling around Asia, Mr. Lee made some important contacts.
Yes, that's right. Very good. Okay, then we have last month, 21 US cities had no electricity. New York stopped. Here, 3 employees from our New York office tell their stories. Annie Sanders, please. Catalina Carrasana.
Human resources manager. I was coming back to the office by cab when it happened.
When it happened.
When it happened. In about 5 minutes, the streets were full of people and we could move. My only real problem was who to pay the cab driver.
How?
How to pay the cab driver.
How to pay?
To pay the cab driver. I couldn't get any money because the cash machines wasn't working.
Plural. The cash machines.
The cash machines weren't working.
Were not working or weren't working. Right. Ken Lowe, Mayra, please.
Ken Lowe, President,
Vice.
Vice President, oh, sorry. I was, no. I was going down in the elevator when the power went off. I was there in the dark for maybe 2 hours. Then, while I was thinking of what to do, I heard someone calling to me. It was a firefighter, and he got me out.
Yes. While I was thinking of what to do, I heard someone calling to me. Yes. Okay, then we have Yuma Jensen. She's the Senior Account Executive, please. Benjamin.
Senior Account Executive Jakey Anderson and I were having a new meeting with a big new client at the time. Of course, we had to stop, but it was okay because the meeting wasn't going very well.
Okay, so for her, it was a convenient situation, right? Because it says here, it was okay because the meeting was not going very well. So it was good for her that New York got stopped. They didn't have electricity. Number 3, complete the sentences with the past simple or past continuous. Gunnar hurt his back while he was carrying a heavy box. Number 2, please. Catalina Tapia. When Jean was walking down the stairs.
When Jean was walking down the stairs, she fell.
Yes.
Vlad got an electric shock while he was fixing the lights.
Yes.
Olga cut her hand while she was mending,
fixing,
mending,
repairing.
Mending the broken window. Len broke his arm when he was cleaning the machine.
The machine.
Raj was making coffee when he burned his hand.
When he burned. Very good. Write something that happened to you when you were doing these things. When I was attending a conference in Beirut last year, I met an old friend of mine. Yes? Claudio, number 2.
You were looking for a job or you were having a meeting?
But it says here something that happened. When I was having a meeting in Santiago last month,
when I was having a meeting in Santiago last month, I met someone new.
I met someone new. Okay. Do you have number 3, Matias? When I was looking for a job, Mati?
So sorry. While I was looking for a job, I heard about vacancy in Brazil.
When I was looking for a job, something interrupted this action, Mati. For example, when I was looking for a job yesterday, I heard a loud noise in the street, you know, something happened. An accident happened, or I heard a loud noise, but you have to interrupt this action. Number 4, Mati, do you have number 4? Did you do your homework, Matias?
Yes.
And what do you have in number 4?
You will have.
What happened when you were having a holiday abroad?
¿Cómo qué me pasó en una fiesta?
No, abroad is in another country, a vacation abroad.
Ah, ya. Entonces, como que si pasé como una festividad en otro país, una cosa así.
No, you have to use past simple and past continuous. Remember, when we studied last class, for example, when I was cleaning my house, an accident happened outside. Or when I was cooking last night, my son had an accident. Or when I was doing something, you know, something happened. You have to interrupt that action. It's like the first example. When I was attending a conference in Beirut last year, I met an old friend. Rah was making coffee when he burned his hand. So this action is longer and then this is shorter.
Entonces,
So you say, when I was having a holiday in New York last summer, for example, I, what?
I feel broke my arm.
I broke my arm.
Yes.
Mati, repeat after me. When I was having a holiday in New York last summer, I broke my arm.
I broke my arm.
But tell me the complete sentence. When I was having a holiday in New York last summer, I broke my arm.
Mucha información.
But read this. Mati, are you seeing the screen? Here you have it. When I was having a holiday in New York last summer, I broke my arm.
When I having, no, se me olvida. Se me olvida la primera parte de la palabra.
Repeat after me.
La oración.
Repeat. When I was having a holiday in New York last summer, I broke my arm. Okay.
Sí, so entendí, pero se me olvidaba como la oración completa, no la podía decir de corrido. Lo que decía usted se me olvidaba.
Okay, but you have to use this information in the homework. Paz, what happened when you were going home from work?
While I was going home from work last month, I don't know. I forgot my wallet.
Okay, very good. Patricio Lizama, what happened when you were flying or traveling somewhere? Flying to Temuco or traveling to Arica, or what happened to you, Pato?
Yes, when I was flying to Patagonia last year, I visited old friend, her father.
I visited,
excuse me.
I visited an old friend. Yes, that's right. Okay, guys. So what you will have to do next class is an oral presentation, and you have to say an anecdote. Yes? So today we are going to, here we have, you know, last class. Did we do this last class, guys? Nico, Mayra, did we do this last class? Yes.
Yes.
Do you okay, so it was a few weeks ago when I was making dinner, my friend called. I completely forgot about the food on the stove and I burned everything. Yes? I damaged my parents' car last week. I was driving to work and I ran into a stop sign. Last week, I hurt my foot when I was doing aerobics. I don't know why, but I just fell. So this is what we did last class, and it was similar to your homework, yes? So here we have a story, well, it's a paragraph about this place is, I think this place is Toronto. Yes, this is Toronto in Canada, right? So we have a short paragraph here. Benjamin, can you read this paragraph?
Yes, miss. Last night, I went to Nathan Phillips Square at City Hall in Toronto. It was a beautiful summer evening. It was warm and sunny. Lots of people were there because of the Pom Games celebrations. I stood and watched the crowd. Many people were sitting by the water. Some people were talking with friends or family. Lots of people were taking pictures. A band was playing music on the stage. People were standing by the stage. They were listening to the music. Others were watching the performance on large video screens. Everyone was enjoying the summer evening.
So this is a short story. It's not an anecdote because nothing happened to him, but he is describing what happened last evening. Yes, there were people, I stood and watched, some people were talking, some people were taking pictures, a band was playing, people were standing, they were listening to music, right? So he's describing. People were standing in front of the stage, correct or wrong? People were standing in front of the stage, correct or incorrect? Pedro, Pedro.
It's wrong.
Why?
It's many people were sitting by the water.
Pedro.
¿Se me escucha ahora?
Yes, yes. People were standing in front of the stage, correct or incorrect?
It is wrong. It's many people were sitting by the water.
I'm talking about the stage. Look at the screen. Look at the screen.
It's people were standing by the stage. Yeah,
by the stage.
Correct.
It's incorrect because in front of and by are different. By is next to the stage. In front of is another preposition, so it's wrong. Number 2, I were watching the crowd. Correct or incorrect? This is a grammar problem.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Why is it incorrect? Why?
I
was watching. Everyone was celebrating the Pan Am Games. Everyone was celebrating the Pan Am Games. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, it's correct. The sun was shining. Correct or incorrect?
Correct. Because it's summer.
It's sunny. Yes, very good. Some people was watching the band. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Some people was watching the band. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect, because people is
Where?
where. People is always plural, guys. People were, people are, people go. It's plural, not correct. Yes, so these are, you know, some little details that you have to pay attention, right? So when you tell an anecdote, yes, when you tell a story or a personal anecdote, you start like this in the introduction, then you have the action, the background, and you have the wrapping up of the anecdote. So you're learning here how to say an anecdote. Please, pass. I want you to read all these expressions, please.
Yeah. This is a story about I was living in the city at that time. This made me release something important.
Realize,
Suddenly,
no, realize. This made me realize.
This made me realize something important. And suddenly, I'm going to tell you about something unforgettable that happened to me. What happened next was, when I look back on that story now, I feel blah, blah, blah. This took place a few years ago. At that time, I was later on, I like to talk about the time when I blah, blah. And after all this, I learned that.
Okay, so this is what I want you to use in your anecdote next oral presentation. So these expressions must be classified in introduction, in background, in the action itself, or in wrapping up. Wrapping up is when you close the story, is the end of the story, yes? So where would you classify? Everybody please unmute yourselves, unmute. Everybody unmute and tell me, this is a story about introduction, background, action, or wrapping up? Introduction. I am going to tell you about something unforgettable that happened to me. Introduction. At that time, I was...
An action?
Background?
No.
Background? Yes, background and action could be. Yes, background. I was living in the city at that time.
Action.
Background?
Background also. An action could be, but background. What happened next was? Action. Later on?
Background?
I think it's action because you are describing the story. This made me realize something important.
Wrapping up?
Wrapping up, yes. Realize es darse cuenta. So when you finish the story, this made me realize something important. When I look back on that story now, I feel, what is this?
Wrapping up.
Wrapping up. I'd like to talk about the time when I... Introduction. Suddenly... Action. It's like later on is action, suddenly. This took place a few years ago.
Introduction.
Or wrapping up.
Wrapping up, yes.
No, background.
Background
is
what is background?
Background is background.
No, but
what is
why
background?
took this place a few years ago is in background and not in the introduction or...
No, because the introduction is when you start telling the story. This is stories about. I'm going to tell you about. Yes? I'd like to talk about the time. No, this
yes,
took
but
place
you
a
can
few...
say this story took place a few years ago in Canada.
No, but that's the background. It's the, you cannot begin with an introduction like this immediately.
Okay.
No, this took place as the background. What is the background, guys?
Fondo. Como eso fondo, ¿no?
No, the background is when you start talking about the story itself. When it happened, where it happened, who was involved in this story. That is the background. You understand?
Como el contexto.
Yes.
No, well, it's more than the context, because the background in this case is in the past tense. You have to say when, where. Yes, that is the background. You cannot begin immediately and say this took place a few years ago. No, you have to say this story is about, or I am going to tell you about something, or I'd like to talk about when the time I went, etc. So this took place a few years ago is the background. Okay, after all this, I learned that wrapping up. Yes, when you say goodbye, right? Okay, so we are going to listen to some anecdotes now, please. It says here, embarrassment. Every week we ask you a different question. Here, what people in London say, then join the conversation. What's your most embarrassing moment? Yes? Can you please tell me what's your most embarrassing moment? Benjamin, do you remember an embarrassing moment of your life?
Well, when I think, nothing comes to my mind, but noise.
Try to think about something.
I will.
What is a synonym of embarrassment? I'm going to write in the chat. And a synonym of embarrassment is shame. A synonym of embarrassment is humiliation. Shame, humiliation. Those are synonyms of the word embarrassment. And I feel embarrassed. And the situation was embarrassing. Remember? You say, I am embarrassed. Yes, or this situation was embarrassing. When you feel embarrassed with ED, and the situation was embarrassing. You can also say this situation was shameful. Shameful. Yes? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, does anybody here in the class has an embarrassing moment that would like to share? No embarrassing moments for you? I have many embarrassing situations in my life. Many. And I laugh a lot when something happens to me, you know, like that. I never cry, I just laugh out loud. For example, one time I was a teenager and I took a bus and I sat down in the bus and I saw that there was another seat next to me. And I put my backpack next to me and there was a window. So the backpack went out of the window and I started crying, please, driver, stop, you know, because my backpack is outside, is flying, you know. And you know, the bus driver had to stop the bus, and all people were looking at me and said, what happened to you? Why did you throw out the window your backpack? No, because I thought that there was another seat next to me. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to throw the backpack out of the window. I thought that there was another seat next to me and I just, you know, throw it out. So it was very embarrassing. All the cars stopped, you know, after the bus. When the bus stopped, the cars behind stopped. And they say, what happened? You know, there was a backpack flying. So that was an embarrassing situation for me, very embarrassing.
I remember an embarrassing moment.
What happened, Nico?
In quarantine, I cut myself my hair but when I was cutting my hair, the machine, how can I say, se echó a perder,
Stop working.
stopped working. So I'm going here cutting, and it was enough.
Oh.
It was broken. All of this was long, and this was
Short.
very short. And
Okay.
I have a
picture?
photo. Yes, a picture. It was very embarrassing, but 2 weeks later, I can cut my hair.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can see that. So you only had, you only cut your hair here, but at the back it was long because the machine stopped working.
Yes.
But it was
So later, I cut all my hair, and now it was long. So
okay. And did you cut yourself the hair again, or you went to a hair salon? Well, hair salons are not working today.
now in quarantine, I learned how to cut myself.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have the same problem at home. My 2 kids have long hair, and they don't want me to cut their hair. They don't trust me. They don't trust me. I say, never, Mom, you're not going to cut our hair. I said, well, then, let's call someone. There are some hairdressers coming homes, and they go to your hair and they can cut your hair, Benjamin's hair, my husband's hair. They say, no, we want our hairdresser. So all of them have long hair, even my husband. They don't want to cut their hair. So I think you're very intelligent, Nicholas. Yes, intelligent people find solutions, My kids are really messy, and they don't look well today with that hairstyle. But anyway, we have to be patient. Do you think we will finish this quarantine soon?
no, I didn't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. No.
No? But what about the steps the government informed? First step, second step, fourth, fifth step. Do you think that's going to happen? No? So what are we going to do? Are we going to stay home all year inside our homes?
Maybe. Because in 1-2 months, maybe we can come out, but
How do you say can in future? Because I can is present, I could is past, but can in future. We won't be able, or I will be able to go out. Yes, I will be able. That is the can in future tense.
Will?
I will be able to go out. Podré. No existe can en futuro. Solo en presente y pasado. Can and could. In the future, you have to say, I will be able or I won't be able to go out. So what do you think, Nico?
We will be able out in 2 months.
In 2 more months?
Maybe.
Oh, I was ready for the 1st of August. I am really bored, guys. I am bored of being with my kids, my husband all day here, have to cook every day. I am tired, have to clean the house. I want to be out. I'm really tired. Oh my gosh. And I don't know, guys, what we will do because I won't be able to teach you with a mask. Imagine this, you are not going to listen to me. And my glasses are also going to get, dirty. So, oh no, I don't know. I am really bored. Anyway. Okay, guys. So what did we do? Okay, we were talking about embarrassment, and Nicholas, said, or he told us an anecdote. But I want you to listen about these people embarrassing moments, okay?
Walking down the street one day trying to impress this girl. Showing off a bit as you do, you know. And then smack bang, walked straight into a lamppost. Fell over from the shock. Wasn't good.
What's always really quite embarrassing is when you think somebody's waving to you, so you wave back at them, but they're not, they're waving to somebody behind you. That's always quite embarrassing as you try and brush your hair instead to pretend you weren't doing it.
I remember being at school and calling a teacher I really, really hated mum. I had no idea why I called her mum. I think it was just a slip of the tongue.
Did you understand the stories or were they too fast? Let's see them again. First of all.
Walking down the street one day trying to impress this girl.
Okay, this is what he was doing. He was walking down the street and he was trying to impress the girl.
Showing off a bit as you do.
Showing off. You understand this verb, showing off a bit, as you know? Show off. Yes, Benjamin, very good. Show off is jactarse, lucirse. Huh? So he was trying to show off a bit, you know, and...
Yeah, you know. And then smack bang, walked straight into it.
What happened to him? He crashed. He walked straight into a lamppost. This is, you know, have you seen these videos where people are walking with their telephones, you know? Have you seen those videos? There are many videos, you know, that you can see that people are, you know, chatting and using the telephone, and then, you know, they walk straight into a lamppost, or sometimes they fail, right? So that was a good example too.
Lamppost. Fell over from the shock. Wasn't good.
What's always really quite embarrassing is when you think somebody's waving to you.
Okay, waving. This is the action, waving. Hi, Catalina. Hi, Malcolm. Yes? You think that somebody's waving and then...
You wave back at them, but they're not, they're waving to somebody behind you. That's always quite embarrassing as you try and brush your hair.
And you do something like this. Hi, Malcolm. So you touch your hair, you brush your hair instead of, you know, because it's so ridiculous. It happens to me many times.
Instead, to pretend you weren't doing it.
And you pretend, yes, you pretend touching your hair that you were not doing it.
I remember being at school and calling a teacher I really, really hated mum.
Have you ever called a teacher mom?
Yes.
Yes, Benjamin?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yes, Benjamin? Why?
I was little. I don't know. I was like, "Hey, mom."
Yeah,
and
you
everybody
know.
started laughing. Yeah.
And you know what Benjamin does to me? My son Benjamin calls me Miss. Sometimes he's at home and instead of saying Mama, he says Miss, like I am a teacher. It's so ridiculous.
I have no idea why I called her mum. I think it was just a slip of the tongue.
A slip of the tongue. This is another expression. A slip of the tongue. Tongue. What is that? Un desliz. How do you say in Spanish a slip of the tongue?
Se me salió.
Yes? Okay. Yeah, something like that. But there's another expression, I'm sure. Well, that was a slip of the tongue. Okay, so how do you tell a story? Attention here. Okay, telling a story in English. All of these links are in your course plans. So you can see this information again from your course plans, okay? So here it says, traditional stories often start with the phrase, once upon a time. Yes. However, if you're going to tell your story after someone else has already spoken, you can say something like, oh, that reminds me. Funny, you should say that. Did I ever tell you about? Hearing your story reminds me of when. When do you use this? Not in a presentation. You use this when you are having a conversation with another person. For example, what Nicholas did. Yes, I told Nicholas the story of my backpack from the bus, and then Nicholas said, oh, that reminds me of the opportunity that I was trying to cut my hair and the machine stopped working, right? Okay, how, it says here, how to tell your story. First of all, your story should be quite short. Try to keep it grammatically simple as well. So this is easy to follow. You have to talk to me 2 minutes, I think. 2 minutes, I think, yes. Make it easy for the listener to understand. This is essential, guys. Sometimes, you know, people want to show off. Remember Benjamin show off? Catalina? Show off? Yes, they want to show off and they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and that's then boring because nobody likes to listen to a long, boring story. Yes, and you are not the only protagonist, you know? So you have to make this easy for the rest of the people to understand. Sequencing words. These words show the chronological sequence of events. Yes? Before, here we saw this story, you know, this story is about, I'm going to tell you about something unforgettable. I'd like to talk about the time when, yes? But here we have, Mayra, can you read these expressions, please?
Yes. First of all, I packed my suitcase. Secondly, I made sure I had all my documents. Previously, before that, I changed some money. And then I called a taxi for the airport. Later on, when we were stuck in traffic, I realized it. But before all that, I have double-checked my reservation. Finally, I arrived at the wrong check-in desk at the wrong airport for a flight that didn't go until the next day.
Yes, Mayra, repeat after me. Packed.
Packed.
Changed.
Changed.
Called.
Called.
Realized.
Realized.
Checked.
Checked.
Arrived.
Arrived.
Okay, so you can use these. First of all, secondly, previously, yes, finally, to use the chronological sequence of events. Then you also have to use linking words because, as a result, although, yes, and, in short, yes, in short is in summary. In Spanish, you say, para hacerla corta, ¿no? What is the expression in Spanish? Cuento corto, esa es. In short es cuento corto, yes. In short, so you can use these linking words. And the tenses, what are the tenses that you have to use? Past forms and past continuous. The sun was shining and it was a beautiful day. We were driving. Yes, and suddenly saw we were heading towards a huge tailback. Yes, past perfect, not yet, guys. Okay, not yet. In this anecdote, you will have to use only past simple and past continuous, okay? Past simple and past continuous. Okay, so here we are going to see a real story, it says here, tell a story or personal anecdote, yes? Because in some speaking international tests, you may have to tell a story that you make up or a true story about something that happened to you. Yes, the anecdote that I want you to tell me, guys, must be real or fake. I really don't care. If you lie to me, I don't care. I just want to listen to your English, okay? So let's see here this anecdote. Pay attention, please, and take notes on the most important aspects of this conversation. This is the examiner, the teacher, and this is, you know, the student.
Okay, Kelvin, so I'd like you to tell us a short personal story.
Okay.
Here are the topics. Please take one.
Tell me about the great surprise you had. Okay.
Okay, so you've got about 30 seconds to prepare what you're going to say.
Okay.
Okay, Kelvin, you can start when you're ready.
Okay. So this is a story about my birthday. Yeah, and half years ago, yeah. That day was the interclass football competition as well as my birthday, yeah. And I was selected to play in the match. Yeah. So our class need to encounter another very strong opponent. So yeah, and everyone felt very excited about this and almost seemed to forgot about my birthday. So I was not very happy about this. I tried my best in the match, but we still lost. So I was very disappointed because of two reasons. One is because we lost the match, and another because everyone seemed to forget about my birthday. But suddenly my friends took out many creams after the match, and they sprayed all the cream on me. So my face and my hair are full of creams, and they said, "Happy birthday," yeah. And I was very surprised and glad at that time. So, yes.
Wow, yeah, what a great surprise. Okay. Did you have any idea that your friends were planning a surprise like that for you?
Actually, no, because they haven't mentioned anything about my birthday before the match. So I haven't expected they would do this. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Great story, Kelvin. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, Melissa. So now I'd like you to tell us a short personal story or anecdote. And here are the topics. Can you take one?
Okay.
What have you got?
Tell me about a time you surprised someone.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So you've got 30 seconds now to prepare what you're going to say.
Okay.
Okay, so you can start when you're ready.
It's my best friend's birthday, and I've decided to give her a surprise since we have been good friends since Form 3. And I have made a very huge birthday card about this size, and I put it outside a shop in Central, and I hid in somewhere that she couldn't find me. She felt very nervous about that, and she called me and we chat in the phone. Afterwards, she found the card and I appeared in front of her, and I bring her to a restaurant, and I didn't tell her because actually I'm holding a party for her with about 13 of my friends, and I kept.
Did you notice that she said, "I am holding a party for her"? She said, "I am holding a party." Pay attention.
And I appeared in front of her, and I bring her to a restaurant, and I didn't tell her because actually I'm holding a party for her with.
Did you notice that? I am holding a party for her. Is this correct or incorrect? You say I am holding a party when you are talking in the past, guys? Malcolm, Claudio, Pato, Tata?
Was or not was holding?
Yes, I was holding a party. So you see that these are real students. Hmm?
About 13 of my friends, and I cover her eyes and walk into the open area of this restaurant, and I put down my hand. She saw.
Okay, this is enough, guys. So in an anecdote, this is what you have to do. Take time, Malcolm, please, read what you have to do. You know, in English, you usually have the do list and the don't list, yes?
Okay.
So what you have to do in an anecdote,
Take time to think about the question and the story before you start talking. Use narrative tenses, past simple, past continuous, and past perfect.
Past perfect, not in this opportunity, guys, because you haven't learned it yet, okay? Continue.
Use adjectives and adverbs to make the story interesting. Use sequencing words, first of all, then after that, later on, finally in the end. Give your story an introduction. Say briefly. I don't know how to say that.
Briefly. Briefly.
What is that, Miss?
Briefly, cortamente.
Say briefly what your story is about. Give the background to your story. Say when and where it took place and what you were doing at that time. Say what happened step by step using words like so, because, and altro.
Although, aunque,
although. To connect the actions until you reach the end of the story. Keep the action moving. Finish your story or anecdote by saying why it is important to you or why you remember it. Look at the listeners.
Very good. Okay, so in this case, you don't have to look at anybody because you will record a video, right? But you have to finish your story, Claudio, Pato, Catalina, saying why it is important to you or why you remember it. And the don'ts. Don't, please, Pato, can you read? Don't take. Pato, you're muted.
Excuse me. Take too long telling the story or your listener will get bored. Use a flat, or bored voice. Look down or look around the room.
Right, right. So you are not supposed to tell the story like that, you know? You have to keep action moving, you know, and follow all these recommendations. You can watch and follow the links that are in your course plan again, yes, to do, you know, your next presentation. So you have to follow all of these suggestions. Finish the story saying why it is important to you. Of course, you have to, the steps that we saw, the introduction, yes, the introduction, the background, the action, and the wrapping up, of course, right? Okay, guys, so next class, it's July, Monday, the 27th. You are going to send a video to me with this anecdote. And I'm going to show you really fast. Okay, let me see. I don't remember where I have your instructions. Okay, let me see. I'm going to raise you a little bit. I'm sorry that I am showing my own picture, but oral test, no. Okay, where do I have your anecdote? Okay, here. I think it's gonna be here. 322. Instructions, oral test videos 322. I think it's here. Okay, here we are. Okay, here we are. It says record a video of 2 minutes, send it to your schedule. The video must be done standing up, not sitting down. Reading is not allowed. Avoid background noise. Introduce yourself and read. Talk about an anecdote you had in the past, real or fake. Include as many details as possible. When did this happen? Where did this happen? Who was involved? What were you doing when this occurred? How did you and other people feel? Was there any consequence of this event, etc.? Use past continuous and simple past amply. Say goodbye and thanks for listening. Okay, so these are the instructions that I will send to your emails. Yes? After that, on July the 29th, you are going to have your final written exam. You have to study all the links, the handouts, yes, the handouts and the homework from all the grammar. The final written exam is grammar and vocabulary. Yes, grammar and vocabulary. Yes, so that's the final written exam. And in this opportunity, you will have your cameras on, all of you, and you will answer the test with me. Everybody with the cameras on, I know that you can cheat anyway. You can use your telephone, you know, but online is online. But in this opportunity, I'm gonna be with you, looking at you, yes, while you answer the test. So please fix your cameras, or Felipe, if you have your camera working, perfect. But that's going to be next week, okay? Yes? Clear, crystal clear?
Yes.
Questions, Pedro, Catalina, Paz, Matias? Are you okay? Are you happy?
Yes.
That you're going to finish this semester with me?
Yeah. Something like that.
Huh?
Yes, something like that.
Ah, okay, something like that. And then you will come back to classes on August 31st. You know that? August 31st is the second semester. And you will have vacations in September, 1 week in October, 1 week in November, and 1 week in December. A lot of holidays for you. And we will finish the second week of January. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you guys. Yes, send me the other presentation next class and see you for the final written exam, okay?
Okay, miss.
See you, miss.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Anything?
Thank you, miss.
If you have any questions, please write to me. Yes?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank you.